Totally and utterly disagree with Neevesy. I was watching Neevesy's Bikes YouTube channel the other day, and I love it. It's my favourite YouTube channel. I kind of skip the race and stuff. I'm a bit not too bothered about that sort of stuff, but I love all the other content. Really interesting. A guy with so much history in the testing world and all that sort of stuff. But he had a podcast the other day, and a fella wrote in saying, I've got a Suzuki GSX S1000, and he was asking a question about suspension. And he said, he says he only uses his bike on the road. He said, the owner says, he does make rear preload adjustments when he takes a pillion, but doesn't adjust the damping. Question, am I missing out on anything by not adjusting the damping? And Neevesy says, no, you're not missing out. You bloody liar! You are missing out. You're definitely missing out. I respectfully and totally disagree. Yeah, I said you bloody liar already, yeah. Why not? It comes with adjustable suspension. Why wouldn't you adjust it? Why would the manufacturer put adjustable suspension on a bike? Why would you not use it if you've got it? That's like having a gas ring and just using it at one level. Oh, it'll boil an egg. It'll boil an egg, yeah. Turn it up, it'll boil an egg faster. No, just boil an egg at that rate, yeah. Well, the brightness on my phone. Yeah, let's say the brightness on my phone. Yeah, yeah, I can see it at that brightness. Turn it up. Oh, yeah, that's much nicer. That's great. What did he say? He said, with most modern newish bikes, you don't really need to touch the suspension. Why would Neevesy feel like that? Well, I suspect he's an average weight and manufacturers designed for an average weight. But, and a big but, you also have to take into account pillion and luggage and stuff like that on some bikes. So adventure bikes, you know, they're built to take varying amounts of weight. That's why you find bikes with remote preloads where manufacturers expect you to be changing the weight on the load on that bike all the time. More kind of sportier bikes, they kind of cheap out a bit and have a ring around the rear shock because they're thinking you're going to set that for your weight and forget about it and never change it again. But where you have adjustable damping, why would you not experiment with that? Like, to me, I would back off the damping completely on that bike, ride it, see what my range is, and then put the damping completely on maximum, front and rear, ride it, and see what my bandwidth is. See what my range is of damping. Now, as he says, some bikes can be like this, you can change it and you can barely feel the difference, but there's a ton of bikes where the difference in the damping is this, or this, or this, or this, and it changes the ride completely. He's saying, I don't really have the adjustment there to make massive changes. The window is relatively small because the manufacturer doesn't want you messing up the handling. I totally disagree. I want to qualify that though. The less travel there is, the less opportunity to do something radically different. I'll agree. But take my Daytona here. There's only like 120 mil of travel on that thing, on these forks and the rear end. But I can make them soft or compliant or reasonably firm without bottoming them out on regular roads, even crappy roads. So even bikes with shorter suspension, I can change the nature of the bike quite a bit. Well, it's another one of his statements. The window is relatively small because the manufacturer doesn't want you messing up the handling. Yeah, I agree, yes and no. What are my notes I said about this? Well, I agree about not making the adjustments so wide you completely make a balls up of the bike. Yeah, like massively under damping the bike and the thing's bottoming out all the way down the road. Yeah, no manufacturer's going to do that. But I made a video about a Tiger 900, I think it was the Rally, where I adjusted, yeah, it was the Rally. I adjusted the damping front and rear to absolute minimum, took off down the road, and it was like a Luxo barge. You couldn't feel a pebble on the ground. And then I maximised the damping front and rear, and it turned out to be quite a sharp handling bike. Now, not Fireblade handling, and on the luxury side, it wasn't Goldwing weight. Well, actually, it was close, but not kind of Goldwing levels of comfort. But the range of adjustment on that bike with that damping was massive, absolutely. I leant on the table, yeah. I haven't screwed it down, yeah. It was massive, massive. So there's big changes to be had with bikes with big suspension and normal kind of road suspension. So I totally disagree, Neevesy. And this is why you're paying extra for a bike
with adjustable damping. You can change the characteristics of this bike quite a lot with that suspension adjustment, and that's something you're not going to get on the 850 Sport, obviously. That'll come with an average kind of damping, but you just don't get that range. The range of adjustment on this completely changes the character of the bike, and that's what you're paying for. So that's a bike that in half an hour I've set up and have it riding perfectly for me. That's quite comfortable on these roads, but it's not sloppy. I wish it takes such a little time to do it. I wish testers did it. All they have to do is take a screwdriver with them in their back pocket. And so many testers say, oh, the damping's too harsh for me, or it's too soft for me. Jesus, it's adjustable, just adjust it. I wish all road testers would adjust the damping to fully damped one way, fully minimally damped the other way. Find out the range and then comment on it. But these blind comments about the suspension without ever adjusting it are just absolutely ridiculous.
What else did he say? The only way you can get suspension to suit a rider's weight is to get springs designed for your weight. I partially agree with that, but I'd qualify that statement. To get the very best for yourself, yeah, springs made for your weight. But you've also got to know what usage you want out of it. Are you looking for a comfortable ride, or are you looking for a firm, sporty ride, or whatever like that? Because you can't have it all unless you have that adjustable damping. But manufacturers put adjustable damping on bikes that often they're expecting the load to change a lot, and that's why you have those remote preloads as well. But let's say my old Tiger 1200, if I went 2 up and had all the aluminium luggage and everything like that, if I left the damping would be set in a road mode. That back end would be doing this going off down the road. I used to have to go all the way to the sport end, the top end of 9 levels of damping to firm that rear end up. Now it was still a very comfortable ride. It was just to stop it bloody doing this. So if it can be done with a bike with electronic suspension, there's no reason why you can't do it on that GSX S1000, or no reason why you might not modify that to suit. So that fella ups his preload on that GSX, but he should also up the rebound damping on that to give his pillion a better ride as well, because I guarantee it's totally different than when he rides the bike. Okay, here's my rear shock. Here's the spring in the rear shock. It's just a stainless steel ruler in my case. I've got a rider on board. Now, I've got him level with that first line. Goes over a bump. Okay, we're using about 3 graduations there. So that's the forces on that shock as it goes over the bump. And our damping is going to obviously try and control that and get that under control. Great. Now, I've just added a pillion. So, we start from the same place. We've adjusted our preload to bring the bike back to its normal geometry. Now I go over that same bump. Look at that, we did about 5 graduations there. Same bump, much bigger movement at that spring. So there's a lot more energy in that spring when it gets down here, and it's going to come up. And obviously we're kind of trying to damp that down. Now that passenger is getting all this. So yeah, we want that back wheel to come up nicely when there's a bump. But we actually don't want the wheel to recover too fast because there's a lot of stored up energy in that spring. So if we add a little bit more rebound damping, we can stop that pillion feeling that discomfort of bouncing up and down all the way down the street. What else did Neevesy say? In terms of getting it set up professionally to suit your weight, there is nothing you can do apart from buying new springs. I totally and utterly disagree with that statement. If the question had been how can I get the very best suspension for my bike, he's right. Custom spring rates, custom damping for your weight and your usage. But that's not what the fella's asking. He's just saying I've got adjustable damping. Should I adjust it? No, leave it where it is. That's like me listening to Neevesy's podcast at that volume. Yeah, I can hear it. It's perfectly all right. But it'd be better if I turned it up. Oh, that's better. It was adjustable. And the thing is, it might not even, he might have bought that bike second hand. That damping might not even be in the manufacturer's original position. Who knows where it's set? Like, take my CB1100 here. I get what I'm given. There's no adjustable damping on this bike. It's the damping characteristics of that bike are what they are, and I just have to accept it. I need to shell out a good few quid if I want adjustable damping. For the amount of riding I do on that bike and stuff like that, it's just not worth doing. It's quite reasonable. It's quite compliant. It's not racy flickable or anything like that, but it'll do. It'll do. It's not worth upgrading it. But for a bike that has adjustable damping on it, why wouldn't you change it? Like, every bike's got to be a bit of a compromise, because if a manufacturer's saying the load rating on this bike is 200 kilos, then, the manufacturer has to think about the suspension for that range. It might be a 75 kilo rider, it might be a 120 kilo rider, it might be a 200 kilo rider and pillion. So the damping can have a big effect when you're changing those loads, and it can completely transform your ride. So, Neevesy, I totally bloody disagree. Here's some more examples. That's like me not using the adjustable straps on my jacket, because when I do, they make me look slimmer. They do. They do. Look. That's like me, just talking everything to 30 Newton meters. Don't bother with the adjuster. No, just 30. 30 on everything. That's like me not using the adjustable seat components on my GS. It just beggars belief, Neevesy. Beggars belief. And it's like not using the two positions the rear seat can go on a GS. How many people didn't know that? Yeah, this goes back or forward, to try and close that gap. But it's adjustable. Okay, he said I can adjust my preload. Jeez, thanks, Neevesy. No, I do love him, really. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm adjusting my mirror. My adjustable mirror. Oh, that's a bit out, actually. That's better. What are you doing? You're adjusting your clutch. Neevesy will have your guts for garters. Leave it as it came from the factory. Don't touch that adjustable clutch adjustment. And woe betide you think about doing anything with a brake one. What am I doing? I'm adjusting my adjustable vario panniers. So there. What am I doing? I'm adjusting my adjustable air vent, and then I'll close my adjustable visor. No, I'm in big trouble for slagging Neevesy, the god of motorcycling. He really is. He really is. And look, this is only a bit tongue-in-cheek. Anyway, where's my phone charger? I've got a few phones. Yes, I totally disagree. Totally disagree with Neevesy. You what? He's downstairs. Fuck.